Well, because of Monday's, what we call pretty bad hearing with the head of the Secret Service, where, as far as I could count, she didn't answer one question. There were calls, and this was fascinating. The first time I've seen a House hearing for a while where both sides of the divide, the Republicans and the Democrats, were both in unison. It really was a bipartisan hearing, and they were calling for her to tender her resignation.
I would have to get back to you.
That is a no. You're full of shit today. You're just being completely dishonest.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr.
Chairman, no, you knew that everyone knew. The people there knew that there was a danger. They knew there was a threat to President Trump, and it was allowed to happen. Was there a stand-down order, Ms. Cheadle? No. Was there a conspiracy to kill President Trump?
Absolutely not.
Then how did this happen? And why are you still sitting here not turning in your letter of resignation?
Something she refused to give, just like as I just said, she didn't give many answers. So let's see, and in particular, it's because of what Jared MOSKOWITZ says, which I'll play you in a moment, which I think we should try and see if we can just find some basic answers. Let's start, you probably haven't seen this view and this piece of video before. So this is from within the roof and the building where the assassin Crooks was based. One of the questions that the head of the Secret Service was asked were, did the FBI and the Secret Service, did they check line of sight from within outside the perimeter? Clearly they didn't, because if they had done, there is no way that this room, this particular location, would have had access.
I'm standing in approximately the site where the shooter was. As you can see, I'm a 70-year-old man, and this roof is not a big deal. So for somebody to tell me that Secret Service agents couldn't have been here, that's crazy. So you can see that you've got a clear line to the president.
This guy is a 70-year-old man.
It's not a hard shot.
And he got up here, so we know Rob.
The next thing I want to clear up is this water tower. Not the question, was there a second shooter? It's the water tower. So if you look at the line of sight from the water tower, and some people are saying, oh, there's something on top of the water tower, or there's something on the side of the water tower. But there's the visuals of the water tower, if anyone has got anything, are worse than when people take a phone picture or whatever. It's not a phone picture actually, but a UFO. You know, amazing phone cameras, but nobody ever gets anything clarity. But let's just look at the water tower. The marks on top, we found a picture of the water tower. It's a bobble on top. Let's move to the spray of water that you may have seen in some shots that randomly starts and then stops. That's because a third or fourth bullet, I can't tell you which actual one, hits the forklift truck that's holding the speaker. It ricochets onto the valve, the compressor valve, and that's why you see this blast of, well, it looks like air or water or something, and then disappears. That explains that particular moment. For reasons best known to those that are doing it, I don't understand the negativity that there was towards the Secret Service, who clearly have put themselves in the line of fire. I also do not understand those that are saying this didn't really happen, it's staged, etc. It doesn't matter where your political beliefs are, you've got to always put the ballot before the bullet. The former president of the United States of America, there was an assassination attempt. We'll come to his ear in a moment, but this picture, they're saying, oh, well, if something really had happened, why was he literally, why did the Secret Service leave him uncovered? I cannot believe there are Trumpy Trumps getting carried away by that. It's a split second. Again, the Secret Service did, on the day, those that were there to protect the former president did their job. This picture, it's a split second. It doesn't allow anyone to deny what happened. Again, Secret Service did their job. And now let me play devil's advocate. So you just had an assassination attempt. Right? For one split second, look at this photo. Right? What do you notice? How many people can you count? Now they have cameras, but it could have been anything. They're directly in front of the former president. As I said, it's for one split second. Was he fighting against them to be able to stand up? It's a very, very strange photo. And psychologically, very strange that you've just allegedly been clipped by a bullet. You've had people piling on top of you. The adrenaline is clearly running. Yet you stand up where the photographers have got a total clean line of sight. At this stage, how are you able to work out who is a photographer and who could potentially be somebody with other intentions? Again, it's not to blame the Secret Service at all.
I own an AR-15, and last time I shot it one time my whole life. It was 6 years ago. That is until Saturday, where we recreated the events in Savoy, Texas. We recreated what happened in Butler. I was lying prone on a sloped roof at 130 yards at 6:30 at night. And I knew that he had a scope. I didn't know what kind, red dot or magnified. So I shot 8 rounds from both. You know what the result was? 15 out of 16 kill shots. And the one I missed would have hit the president's ear. That's a 94% success rate. And that shooter was a better shot than me.
I want to just point out one thing that my colleague from Texas was talking about. When he said he recreated the shooting twice with an AR-15, and he had a 94% success rate, 15 out of 16 shots. I don't know why that doesn't convince him that we should get rid of AR-15s, but clearly we need to do something about the prevalence of AR-15s and weapons of war on our streets. And I yield back.
Chair.
Try not to be political here, but I'm not convinced that J.D. Vance has just given the best witness description. So Trump started off with this huge big gauze, and then let's just zoom in on this. This is a real photo of Trump on stage. Who applied this bandage or band-aid or plaster, whichever word you want to use? It looks very lastminute.com. It's not stuck on properly, and if you zoom in, one thing I notice, if there had been what I would call a serious medical examination under the area, I'm quite confident a little bit of hair would have been trimmed. No hair has been trimmed. Look carefully. Nothing has been trimmed. Yes, there's a little bit of redness on the ear. Does that really look like an ear that's had a bullet glaze plast? Right? A split second of a bullet grazed past. Because surely, if you talk to anybody, I spoke to somebody recently who'd had a major operation and they were showing their scars. You speak to anybody, just within the personal thing, you show your scars off. Surely, if you've gone through all of this, why is he hiding his scar? You wouldn't hide it, you just wouldn't. Psychologically, you wouldn't. Putting a bandage or a plaster on it, that wouldn't be it. That bit, nobody has said. Show us your wound. Show us your ear. Why has nobody said that? It's not going to do any harm. Show us your stitches. Quite a normal thing. If you've had any operation, anyone in your family, it's not in a private area. Were there stitches? No. What type of wound was it? Okay, let's just put the two pictures together. If you look in the picture, which is immediately after the assassination attempt and the bloody ear, and then look at the picture where he's just got the band-aid on. One of the areas where the bloody ear is, you can clearly see on the band-aid, it's very weird. It's not even covered up. Nothing. Now, that was an area where supposedly just the projection of this alleged bullet that Trump claims whizzed past, it is not possible for it to have touched just one little side of the ear and not the other side of the ear. But when you look at the two pictures, it tells you a totally different story to what Trump is alleging happened. Believe me, we can take such a huge deep dive into this whole subject. Not just did a bullet hit Trump's ear, or was it shrapnel from something, or when he was pushed to the ground and protected by the Secret Service with so much force his shoes came off. Did his ear graze something? Were there two shooters? All of these things. Was there somebody on the water tower? How does a 20-year-old get access to this particular weapon? Did they turn up on a car? Did they turn up on a bike? All of the conspiracy theories could keep us going for quite a while. But for me, please, if you have a couple of minutes, there was something which Jared MOSKOWITZ said and asked and poses during a hearing with the Secret Service boss on Capitol Hill on Monday, which I think this is really, really important. Please have a listen, and then if you have a moment, have time, leave a comment in the comment section below. Thank you.
So here's my question. You said there's going to be accountability. I understand you don't want to give us names. When you say that, are you telling the committee that once it's concluded, you're prepared to fire the people on the ground who made poor decisions that day?
I'm prepared to take the actions necessary.
No, that's nonsense. Okay. Accountability. The failure was human. That doesn't mean they're bad people. It means they failed that day, and a former president was almost assassinated. Okay. Are you prepared to fire the human failure on the ground? Yes or no? When you have the names of where those failures were, they're people. It's not like a piece of technology failed. It was people who failed that day. Are you prepared to fire them?
I don't have an answer as to whether.
Well, then how can there be accountability if you're not prepared to fire someone? And the reason why your name is going to be the person who's held accountable, the reason why members in this committee are calling for resignation, and I join in that, or for the president to fire you, is because you're saying there's going to be accountability, but you can't commit that people are going to get fired. Let me ask this question a different way. If Trump had been assassinated that day, if the gunman had succeeded, okay, would you have come and tendered your resignation?
I would still be sitting here because I would want to ensure the integrity of the investigation.
Totally understand. That's a fair answer, that you would have set up that process. But would you have had the honor to come in front of the committee and say, a former president was assassinated on my watch, there should be new leadership?
I think that I have admitted that there was
No, that's what I'm asking. Would you have tendered your resignation if he had been killed?
That occurred on my watch, and I am accountable for that.
Okay, but would you have tendered your resignation if he had been killed?
I think that I've admitted that I've taken accountability and will take responsibility.
Okay.